It's over 9,000!
Welcome, Super Elite Warriors, to Final Forum, a podcast for the discussion of all things Dragon Ball. I am your host, Jelli, an elite recruiting member of the Frieza Force on a mission to find the best warriors from across the galaxy to join the greatest army of all time. And I am joined, as always, by my new recruit co-host.
This is the Bekinney, and join us as we uncover the cultural inspirations and hidden history behind Akira Toriyama's seminal franchise. And you know this isn't right?
What are you whining about?
This time? Well, it's about how we're clearly not where we expected or wanted to be.
And how could you know that?
Because we wanted to be returned to Frieza-controlled space in our universe, and we're in... I don't even know. It looks like a living room, like you'd see in any house, except instead of shed carapaces piled together for lounging, fire lamps, and a viewing portal, there's a black window, glass stuck into these poles, and a big soft lump covered in what looks like possibly treated dead animal skin?
Just because we've never seen anything quite like this doesn't mean we're not roughly back where we wanted to be.
Oh, I'd love to hear that line of thought play out.
Well, Frieza-controlled space is massive, and the number of planets over which he reigns is almost innumerable. Maybe this one is just one we're not familiar with.
How many Frieza-controlled planets are you not familiar with?
Something like 22,654?
Uh-huh. And how many of those contain sentient life?
Closer to 54?
And you think the odds of us having ripped a hole through space-time, across a dimensional rift, and landing in a random home in one of those 50 planets...
54 planets?
Right. You think the odds are that we're on one of those 54 planets, and not just in some random universe in some random place?
Oh, when you put it like that, it's hard for me to come up with a clapback, so... How about we just explore a little bit and see if we can... Shh! Listen. Did you hear that?
What?
I hear someone talking. Look, if we send those fluffy-looking steps over there, we may be able to find out what's making that noise.
Are we sure we want to?
Well, let me think about that for a minute. And while we do, we can get into this week's topic. And this week... I don't even know the episode numbers anymore.
Well, hopefully I have the right ones, because I have episodes 118 through 123.
Okay. And then we're going to talk about things like Cyborgs and Nepotism as we are kicking off we're kicking off the Android Saga and the Android arc, but first we're going to actually be talking about King Cold and Frieza coming back. Before we do that, though, let's remind everyone out there to follow us on all the socials. We're most active on Blue Sky. We're getting more active on some of the other ones. I've started posting little short clips on Reels on like Instagram, and we even have a TikTok now, but I literally just drop the clip on there and I don't do anything with it. I don't even know if we've had a view on TikTok yet. We're posting short clips on YouTube that are like video-ish, so we're trying to do a little bit more with some of those. So make sure to follow us everywhere. Also, join the Discord. We've got a few people in our Discord, and we've actually been having some fun talking to each other in there. So join our Discord and follow us and rate us and review us and help spread the word.
Yeah, that stuff.
Yes. And with that out of the way, let's get into the episode numbers that I forgot already.
Yes, that's right. We've got our recap. We're going to start this week with episode 118 titled Frieza's Counterattack. That's weird. He's supposed to be dead. How can you counterattack? Anyways, so at this point, Goku's alive, but somewhere else in space. It's been about a year, and he's still not home. Aside from some garlic indigestion, the Earth has been pretty peaceful. Krillin's training at Kame House, but he feels insignificant when compared to Goku, while Roshi muses about, just being an old man. Gohan has a new tutor who's, I don't even want to say a bit of a jerk. The dude's just downright evil. And Bulma and Yamcha are fighting, and Bulma reveals that she has softened on Vegeta during his absence while he's been off in space chasing after Goku. Back to Gohan, though, he's literally the whipping boy, with his new tutor driving him to study as hard as possible. Not even bordering on child abuse. It is just child abuse. After falling asleep at his desk, however, he dreams about Icarus when he runs into Goku. Hooray! The family is finally reunited. They're sitting down to dinner, and Goku's about to regale us with his tale of how he got home, until the dream turns into a nightmare, with Frieza showing up to murder everybody instead. Gohan eventually awakes to his tutor freaking out, with Gohan having an iron grip on his wrist. He decides to talk some smack, the tutor that is, and it goes about as well as you'd expect. Tutor decides to call reinforcements from Mommy. Chi-Chi shows up and tries the same tactic of belittling, and it goes even worse for him. So while the Sun family loses one rude guest, the Briefs family gains their own. It's our favorite short prince. He's given up on his search and has decided to wait for Goku on Earth. Bulma offers him a shower and fresh change of incredibly fashionable clothes. Despite Bulma clearly being interested, Vegeta can only think of Goku. He's emasculated by the clothes, but I also think he kind of likes that. Anyone else get that vibe? Anyway, Ox King is getting the story about the tutor from Chi-Chi, and he is delighted. And, I got to be honest, every time I see Ox King in this show, I like him more. He's a real good dude, Just solid guy. But you know who's not a good dude? It's the Key approaching Earth. In fact, it feels just like Frieza. But how? Surely he was vaporized. Bulma makes a joke, and Piccolo blows up a glacier. I bet he votes Republican. It looks like Frieza went crying to his rich daddy, got hooked on some gear, and now he's going to roid rage across the planet, which is going to bring us to episode 119. It's titled The Mysterious Youth. So our heroes are rushing to the landing zone before Frieza can start wreaking havoc. All of them nervous about how to stop him without Goku. We get some fantastic art through these episodes, by the way. This is some of the best art we've seen yet, mixed in with a few flashbacks and some reused content. But you know what? I'll allow it just because the new stuff is so strong. We also learn that King Cold is actually stronger than Frieza. Uh-oh. Everybody arrives, even Bulma. Bulma's before the ship lands, which has some excellent use of camera angles and tracking shots. Again, the animation's great this episode. Cold and Frieza exit the ship. Frieza has a little bit of like a PTSD episode, thinking he saw Goku again. How exactly did Frieza survive anyway? Well, Goku clearly failed to kill him, but somehow so did the planet blowing up. We know that he can survive in the vacuum of space, so I guess he just kind of floated aimlessly in the debris field until King Cold and his men showed up. Then they went $6 million man on his ass. He's stronger, faster, better than he was before. That's an old person reference. You youngins won't get it. But we'll discuss it more later. So anyways, they put Humpty Dumpty back together again and made a beeline for Earth. I guess they also knew when Goku was getting back because they specifically made this trip to beat him home. The Z-Warriors are still making their way to the ship when Frieza orders his men to begin committing genocide. They fly off to follow orders, but immediately get ginsued by a purple-haired young man that we've never seen before. That brings us to Ep 120, titled Another Super Saiyan? ? Spoilers, title card. Come on. How many times do we have to go over this? Get it together, man. So, let's pretend we're asking the question, who is this purple-haired warrior? He's off to a strong start by declaring himself the victor, and he did just dice up those chumps pretty quick. Oh, and then he chopped up the rest of the grunts as well. Okay. The last dude remaining decides that he doesn't want this smoke, but Frieza decides to kill him for insubordination anyways. The others sense what's happening, but Vegeta makes an extra revelation. This person is a Saiyan. It looks like Frieza really is bad at genocide. They trade barbs for a bit, then the new guy drops a bomb. Goku isn't the only Super Saiyan. He starts powering up while Frieza deals with his PTSD and Vegeta deals with his shame. The rest of the Z Warriors are depressed. They can't do anything in this situation. But it would seem our young hero has everything in hand. Not even Frieza's attacks can scratch him. And still, nobody, not even Kaio-sama, knows who this kid is. Frieza tries another I'm going to explode the planet gambit, which fails. Again, there's a running theme here of villains doing the same thing over and over and failing every time. This guy is outstripping what we saw Goku do on Namek, and he's not even breaking a sweat. Then he cuts Frieza up into a couple of mini freezers, which brings us to episode 121, titled "Welcome Back, Cotter." Welcome Back, Goku. That's another old timey reference, but we're not going to talk about it. Ask your parents or maybe your grandparents. So before we welcome back Goku, first we have to say goodbye to Frieza. Everybody's freaking out a bit over how easily this guy just took out a major threat. But there's still a bigger threat, King Cold. He attempts to sway the Purple Warrior to his side, but he gets turned down. Since ambition's a no-go, King Cold decides to go for flattery instead. He wants to inspect the sword that just diced up his own son. And indeed, it is a good one. But our hero has now foolishly disarmed himself. Cold tries a surprise attack with the sword, but it turns out the sword itself isn't much of a factor. One energetic splenectomy later, and Cold is trying to bargain for his life, but it's a waste of time. Then this guy blows up their ship. Crisis handily averted, I'd say. He powers down and invites the Z Warriors to join him in welcoming Goku back to Earth. This entire sequence of events is frying their brains, but they agree to follow him. Not only does he know when Goku is getting back, but exactly where, too. Forget Goku, who is this guy? They follow him to Goku's arrival site, and he pops out another mini fridge capsule and shares a bev with everybody. The only thing they manage to get out of him is his age. He's only 17 years old, which is wild. The Z Warriors decide to put a pin in the questions while Ox King stops by for another visit with Chi-Chi, who is investing heavily in Gohan's study habits. Speaking of, while we wait for him, Gohan and Piccolo decide to take a moment to bond as they haven't seen each other in a while. Bulma starts to suspect that this new guy might be connected into Vegeta some way, specifically even saying that they have like a resemblance, kind of implying that they're related. Everyone waits in anticipation for Goku's ship to arrive, and look, there it is, a Ginyu space pod. Which brings us to episode 122, titled Mystery Revealed. So Goku's finally returned, but we still don't have all the answers. Surely Goku knows who this new guy is. Except he doesn't. Just what is going on? Everyone catches Goku up on what's happened, and the new guy asks for a private word. Goku thanks him for taking care of Frieza, and then the new guy says something interesting. He says, Goku, you were supposed to defeat them, but a time discrepancy occurred, and I had to step in. Goku says that wouldn't have been necessary, as Goku had learned a new technique titled Instant Transmission. Just add water. He can teleport. So it turns out this new guy changed history for nothing. Wait, what? Changed history? I'm going to call this guy Kyle. I bet his name's Kyle. He looks like a Kyle. He then makes a request of Goku. Turn into a Super Saiyan. It's time for a Super Saiyan off. We get a fun little spar where Goku defends himself against the sword with his own finger. This appears to be the new guy's way of gauging Goku's strength, and after this brief skirmish, he decides that he's going to tell Goku everything. He's actually a time traveler from 20 years in the future, and his name is Trunks. Even wilder, he's Vegeta's son. But that's not even the most interesting bit. 3 years from their current present, so not his present, but the Z Warriors present. So this is why I hate time travel. Stuff gets complicated. In 3 years, on May 12th at 10 a.m., on an island 9 kilometers south of Metro South, 2 villains will appear. These villains are cyborgs, built by Dr. Gero of the Red Ribbon Army. These cyborgs will escape from his lab and wreak havoc across the Earth, and nobody will be strong enough to stop them. Trunks is the only survivor in the future, and this is his gambit to try and change his fate. The catalyst for everything going wrong? Goku dies before they appear due to a heart infection. Luckily, Trunks has brought the treatment back with him and implores Goku to take it and stay alive. Oh, and Bulma and Vegeta are his parents. Oh, but don't say anything or he might accidentally Marty McFly himself. Trunks decides to return to his proper place in time, but promises to come back and help them in the fight against the cyborgs. So we have a young man who has traveled back in time to prevent a machine apocalypse. I feel like I've seen this somewhere before. Which brings us to our final episode for recap this week, episode 123, titled Goku's Special Technique. So now that we've been properly warned about our impending doom, let's take a moment for Goku to regale us with the tale of his survival. He found a space pod. The end. It was funny to watch him struggle with technology a bit, though. From there, he ended up on a planet called Yardrat, where he learned his new technique, instant transmission. Naturally, this leads to a display of that new technique. So by focusing on someone's energy, he can pinpoint a location and then teleport to it instantaneously. Goku demonstrates this by teleporting to Kame House and then back while wearing Roshi's glasses. Also creating my phone lock screen in the process just because it's a fun picture and I really like it. I especially like the part where he gives them back to Krillin instead of just like teleporting back and giving them back to Roshi. Now that we've had our fun, back to the task at hand. It's time to train. Bulma tries to circumvent that by suggesting they kill baby Hitler in the crib, but Vegeta isn't having it. Not because he's against the ethical implications of it, but because he wants to kill adult Hitler, not baby Hitler. He wants the full experience. So the Z-Warriors are practically salivating over a new challenger. Everyone heads out to push themselves to beyond their limits, but Goku can't resist telling Bulma to have a healthy baby before taking off. Poor Yamcha. He's so oblivious. Now, as for the training itself, well, let's run through it real quick, at least what we see in this episode. So Krillin has to convince Master Roshi to put the porn down to continue training. Vegeta threatens a 300 times gravity room out of Dr. Briefs. But the biggest challenge lays before Gohan and escaping his mother. It's pretty brutal, Goku and Piccolo essentially just beating up a kid, but it does seem to be effective, at least more effective than Yamcha's anyways. We see Vegeta working his way through 150 times Earth's gravity territory, but will it be enough to face this threat? And that's where we stand at the end of our recap this week.
Yes. if you're just doing like, if this was a show where we were just doing like recaps and commentaries, not like commentaries, but just sort of like episode by episode recaps and just light sort of like surface level discussions, this would be like, there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of lore that gets dumped really fast.
You've got the first appearance of Trunks. You've got a new look for Bulma here, actually, which is it's a good one. It's an underrated one, I would say, because most people remember the bunny ears and the Namek look. I feel like a lot of people like remember whatever the more current, like the very short hair kind of current look. This is one that people don't really. This one doesn't get the same level of love, I feel.
I hear you. I enjoy it. It's an interesting hairstyle, an interesting outfit. It works, and I think it also puts her in nice contrast to everybody else as far as design goes.
Yeah, we get Vegeta Badman shirt. Which is peak. That is classic. It's also okay. I don't know if like it was a meme for a bit, and I just kind of missed that wave on social media, but like it absolutely should be a meme, or should be more common, that people take, those shirts that I'll just say like pretty much like every conservative white dude wears that say like, if you touch my family, I'll kill you. Like,
yeah,
those shirts, right?
Yeah.
There should be a meme format of just constantly photoshopping those things onto the back of this shirt.
I like that. That'd be good.
With Vegeta, you can take the fight out of the dog, but you can't take the dog out of the fight, or whatever. Like,
yeah.
all those shirts that your conservative dad sees like James Hetfield being photoshopped into wearing on Facebook. Like,
yeah, it's like it's like he's got something on his shirt that says like, "There's only 3 things I love: fighting, and bathing with my wife." Although, given how he reacts to that in Daima, maybe bathing with the wife is the top one.
Well, the list went in like reverse order, right? Like how you would reveal like a top 10 list, right? So,
right, yeah, no, that makes sense.
But yeah, I do. This is a solid batch of episodes for like setting up an arc and sort of being a coda to another. Like you said, there's some really good animation. Good stuff. I
think they learned from some of the episodes that drag a little bit more earlier on in the series, and they said, well, if we're going to do this, we should intersperse it with some action and some things going on to sort of distract from everyone just talking.
I also think they kind of learned a little bit in terms of, all right, if we're going to be constantly pressed for time, let's like use some flashbacks.
Yeah.
That way we can keep the animation quality up
Without hitting the budget too hard.
in the stuff that pushes forward. Yeah. It's a more economical use of like their time and their budget. Yeah. Yeah, there's some very good stuff in these episodes, and there's also like I said, there's also the fertile meme ground, because there's the like fairly infamous image of Bulma like drinking a cola or a juice drink or whatever, and commenting that Trunks is kind of cute, and like you get the subtitle.
He's gonna Marty McFly himself in more than one way. Careful, Trunks.
Like Trunks like internally screaming. So yeah, there's all that. There's all kinds of entertainment to be had in these episodes. Really good, really good stuff. And so getting back to breaking them down a little more subtextually, going back to that first episode with Gohan's tutor, his name is Shu Sayaku. Now, Sayaku, given the kanji with which it's written, literally means something like the worst teacher or evil teacher. So it's like the equivalent of a college movie naming their dean like Mr. Bitterman, like Mr. Nasty Face. Like Japanese viewers would immediately know that this guy was a jerk just from the instant he's introduced and has a jerk name and a jerk attitude. There are some things we could potentially talk about with schooling in Japan and private tutoring and where these tropes come from, but I think we'll save that for future batch of episodes, maybe like when Gohan potentially is in school as a teenager and gets the Japanese school experience, like if that ends up happening.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
No, I don't. Who knows if that could possibly happen.
We'll also probably save some time travel discussion for another time, because there's going to be lots more time travel in our future. There's going to be lots more Trunks in our future, so we'll save that for another time. But let's talk about King Cold a little bit, and we can get into that. This is less about him than sort of what he represents, though. For instance, we can't say too much about him that we basically didn't already say for Frieza. Because in terms of his design, he's basically just Frieza's second form. In terms of his attitude and the way he treats people, he's like Frieza.
Like father, like son, you could say.
Exactly. Now, we can say that the English translations often refer to Frieza's parents with an S, while the Japanese only ever refers to King Cold explicitly. It should be noted, though, that there's no plural form in Japanese, so it's possible that they're talking about his parents, but it's just there's no good plural form of saying your parents in Japanese. So the point there being that the Japanese version never explicitly mentions that Frieza has a mother. Another fun little fact is that King Cold is the only member of the Frieza race to not have been voiced at any point by Ryusei Nikao. So that's a fun little fact. But nice. What he represents is Toriyama taking a bit of a shot at something that all cultures have familiarity with in the political world, which is nepotism. The trope of running to daddy when things get too difficult is nothing new to anyone, and certainly nothing overly special, but it does give us an opportunity to talk a little bit about Japan's political history. As we do whenever we get into a really dense topic like this, let's qualify everything here and say that we are condensing thousands upon thousands of years of history and complicated relationships and patterns and culture into like 30 minutes. So if we miss things or misspeak, excuse us, please. If you'd like a more detailed history, I would recommend checking out the History of Japan podcast hosted by Isaac Mayer, as he gives complete comprehensive timelines and has built up an impressive archive of over 600 podcast episodes discussing Japan's history, politics, culture, and philosophy. And he has gone into some of the like various episodes. He's talked about some of the nepotism that's pretty rampant even today in Japan's political culture. Now, Japan historically Their most important deity is Amaterasu, the sun goddess. According to legend, in 660 BC, Emperor Jimmu, a descendant of Amaterasu, founded a kingdom in central Japan, beginning an imperial reign that is recognized as the oldest continuous hereditary monarchy in the world. Even as Japan has seen civil wars, upheavals, controversy, and lack of any political power in its imperial court and its emperor, the Emperor of Japan, currently Naruhito by the way, traces his lineage back 2,684 years. And even though that's not historically recognized in terms of, like
Verified.
Japan's imperial reign and their monarchy is recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest and oldest continuous hereditary monarchy in the world, but they don't certify it going back to 660 BC. They certify it going back to 539 AD. So it's the difference between legend and what history can
Verify.
confirm.
Yeah. I don't want to be disrespectful, but this does seem like world's biggest nepotism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, throughout much of Japan's earliest history, there's a great deal of Chinese influence, with the Yayoi people from mainland Asia bringing agricultural revolution to the archipelago somewhere around 800 BC. During this time, until around 250 AD, various tribes ruled with texts from the 100s AD stating that some 100 kingdoms comprised Japan. Around 250 AD, the Yamato clan became the rulers of a largely unified state that ran from somewhere just north of Tokyo down to Hiroshima. In the 500s, the Buddhist Soga clan took over Japan from behind the scenes, starting the Asuka period, which saw Buddhism become integrated with Shintoism. But in 645, the Soga were overthrown by the Fujiwara clan, and the Taika reforms they implemented further centralized and enhanced the power of the imperial court. Along with the devastating defeat of Japan by the Chinese Tang dynasty in the Battle of Baekgang in Korea in 663, the Japanese lords jockeying for control of the country started to set aside their own infighting to establish a strong central government. In 794, Emperor Kamu moved the capital to Kyoto, and over the ensuing nearly 400 years, the Fujiwara clan became the de facto ruling family of the country due to intermarriages with the imperial court. But around 1100, the power of the imperial court began to decline. Disputes over succession began, and the Genpei War broke out in 1180, the outcome of which was Minamoto no Yoshitsune becoming the shogun. From about 1185 through 1333, the power became decentralized and distributed to the local daimyo and samurai, which led to a split between the northern court and the southern court that ultimately saw the country break down into a period of civil war that lasted from the late 1400s through the early 1600s, when the Tokugawa shogunate rose to power. Man, 200 years of civil war, that's rough.
Yeah.
This kicked off Japan's Edo period, a time of peace that lasted from 1600 through 1868 and saw the Tokugawa shogunate reign supreme over the Japanese archipelago. As pressure from outside built throughout the 1800s, particularly with the U.S. government seeking to end Japan's isolationist policies, the people's faith in the shogunate declined, and the young Emperor Meiji ultimately ended the shogunate, moved the capital to Edo, Tokyo, and kicked off the Meiji Restoration, a period of rapid industrialization and modernization that saw the establishment of the Empire of Japan and the government that would take Japan into World War II.
And that's all a lot to wind up basically just saying, see, Japan has a history of nepotism, just like anywhere else. But it is pretty important to contextualize, I think, especially for Westerners. We think of things that happened prior to the Civil War as this supremely ancient history for Americans, while the Japanese emperor traces his lineage back 2,600 years, and a single family ruled Japan from 1600 through 1868. That is 38 years longer than the United States has existed. And then a single government that was strongly imperial and passed that rule across hereditary lines took them through World War II, and even in the post-war era, Japan's political climate has been largely populated by political families, with former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe being the third in a line of his family to achieve great political prominence in the country dating back to 1955. So Japan really has a hereditary line of succession in their DNA as part of their culture. Japan's greatest failures and successes are largely due to singular families and this hereditary line of succession. And wouldn't you know it, that holds true for Frieza as well. We never get a ton of backstory on the Frieza Empire, but we do later find out that King Cold did step down as ruler to hand power over to his son. And it's kind of an interesting parallel. We think that Japan's biggest political upheaval periods usually start with one emperor abdicating the throne due to mounting pressure of civil unrest, only to find that the next in line faces even more upheaval and some major shift in the government kind of kicks off. King Cold reigned for, we don't really know how long, but long enough to establish basically everything we know from Frieza's reign. And then Frieza was only in power for something like 25 years, or basically Goku's whole life, before another major upheaval to the Frieza galactic rule shakes up the cosmos. Or, in short, nepotism bad. When you just hand off your rule to your son who hasn't earned anything, yeah, things end up not going well.
It can kind of go sideways sometimes.
Yeah, and that's like, so that's, I think that might be some of what Toriyama's saying here is that, yeah, and it's certainly, I think his take on it is a little bit more probably simplistic. Like, his take on it is a little bit more like, haha, we thought the guy who was like the baddest dude in the universe was the baddest dude in the universe, and he winds up just being like daddy's little boy. But that's sort of like, that's unintentionally like a nepotism comment unto itself, right? Like,
yeah, I kind of always interpreted it myself as like a bit more understanding of like how Frieza works, because when we see him on Namek and how he can't seem to grasp the idea that like somebody can work their way up to his level when he's never had to work for anything in his life.
mm-hmm.
And then the idea that once he loses that battle, he goes running to his daddy to fix the problem. Yeah. Kind of makes sense for the character in a lot of ways.
It does. It really contextualizes a lot of his like freakouts on Namek too. Like,
yeah,
like his over falsity of confidence, and then his freak out when he realizes that like, oh no, there might actually be someone stronger than me, because yeah, his daddy told him forever that like, no, you're the strongest, don't even worry about it. And
yeah,
and however many years he was alive kind of proved it out to him, and then whoops. and on top of that, you get kind of the layer of it that I didn't even think about. Like, I just thought of it now, but like that layer of it of not only like nepotism, but also like just daddy issues in general, kind of like
spoiled brat energy.
Yeah. And like we see that with a lot of like rich and powerful people in the world. The President of the United States has had a lot of people come at him, and for a lot of things that are extremely justified. But there's definitely been some people who are like, yeah, and we have to deal with all of this because his daddy didn't love him.
Yeah.
You get the opposite of that maybe a little bit with Frieza, of like his daddy maybe coddled him too much, but I do think that's a little bit of what Toriyama's doing. Is, like I said, I think it's a little more subconscious or unconscious for him. I think he just thinks it's funny that like the baddest man in the universe is just daddy's little boy. Sort of like that. There's that one Futurama episode where with the Star Trek. Do you know that episode of Futurama?
I'm blanking. Give me a little more.
Okay, it's the one where Fry reveals that he's a big Trekkie, but Star Trek has been banned in the future because it became a legitimate religion.
Became a religion. Yes, I have seen that one. Yes.
And then they go to like some. How do they end up at that planet? I kind of forget how they end up there.
I can't remember.
But they end up at that planet where Melbar, the giant space with whatever, and they're like. And at the end, Fry's like, we thought he was this super powerful being, but it turned out he was only a child. And his mother, he's not a child, he's 34.
Exactly.
But it's also like for Toriyama, if I want try and sneak in a kaiju reference for the day, Toriyama might have gotten something like that from the movie Gorgo. In the beginning of the movie, they capture, they don't call it Gorgo though, I don't think. They call it something else. But they capture the monster, or they think they do. And they bring it to their, to like Piccadilly Circus or something like that. And it turns out that it was only the baby. And then the real monster shows up and wreaks havoc. So Toriyama liked kaiju movies, so I'm going with it.
It makes sense to me. I won't question it.
Also in these episodes, though, we've got Mecha Frieza appearing, and this gives us a good opportunity to talk about cyborgs. Note, cyborgs, not androids, not biorobots, and not artificial people, which are all different things, and we'll be getting into some of that over the next several episodes as well. But the idea of cyborgs as a term was coined in 1960 by Manfred Kleins and Nathan S. Klein. Note Kleins versus Klein. But the concept goes even further back, with Edgar Allan Poe writing of a man with extensive prosthesis in his 1843 short story, The Man That Was Used Up. In 1911, Jean de la Hire introduced the character Nyctalope, the first literary example of a cyborg, a character who had an artificial mechanical heart, which gave him greater strength and stamina than normal people, showing just how little was understood in 1911 about the effects that having an artificial heart would have on a person. Because
true,
people who have artificial hearts they are not stronger. The Kleins, though, note two different people, but I'm just going to call them the Kleins. Spelled differently, like I said, but shut up, it's easier to just refer to them that way. Were scientists who proposed that humans enhanced with mechanical parts would be best suited to survive in extraterrestrial environments, and proposed the term cyborg for those humans. Edmund Hamilton, a science fiction author who had already written of human-machine hybrids, used the word in a 1962 short story, and from then on, the word has been in the cultural zeitgeist.
In fiction, cyborg experimentation often makes the person in question stronger, faster, and better than they were before. Darth Vader's a cyborg. We know Toriyama loved Star Wars. $6 Million Man, which is what I was referencing earlier for all you young folks, ran for 5 seasons, 99 episodes, and 6 TV special movies starting in 1973, and featured a bionic man doing work for OSI as a secret agent. Now, the DC Comics character Cyborg debuted in 1980 and has been an integral member of the Teen Titans as well as the Justice League during his publication history. And if you ask us, which is what you're here for, Frieza's cyborg design, or Mecha Frieza, as he's been dubbed by fans, is probably most influenced by Cyborg, which itself seems pretty heavily influenced by Marvel's Deathlock, a character who first appeared in 1974. And if you want to see a more recent iteration, he is a character in the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Still, look at the distribution of organic and metal components in Frieza, Cyborg, and Deathlock, and the ratio and placement is pretty uncanny. We'd probably also be remiss not to at least mention that Frieza's mechanical revival started a trope as well, with bad guys getting cut in half or turning as robotic versions of themselves. The most prominent example that since then that we can think of being Darth Maul from Star Wars. I mean, sure, Star Wars already had cyborgs in it, but Maul and Frieza meet similar ends, being sliced in half at the waist and then return with robot legs.
Yeah. It's like Ouroboros there.
A little bit. I feel like good art does that, though.
Right?
To a degree.
Yeah. And this is, I'll hop in for another Godzilla reference here too, and note that several cyborg kaiju exist, both in the pre- and post-Dragon Ball era of entertainment, with some notable pre-Dragon Ball, and therefore possibly influencing Toriyama, examples being Gigan from Godzilla vs. Gigan, and Godzilla vs. Megalon, and Megalon as well, who has drills for hands. Garoborg from the Zone Fighter TV series, which featured Godzilla on several episodes and was basically Toho's sort of like in-house Ultraman series, and several Ultra Kaiju, including Zeton, Ace Killer, and Grand King. Also, the fan name Mecha Frieza is in that kaiju tradition of characters like Mecha Godzilla, who is actually stated to be a cyborg made up of living flesh over a robotic endoskeleton, and therefore Toho should sue James Cameron because Terminator definitely ripped off Godzilla vs. Mecha Godzilla.
Absolutely.
Could you imagine?
There's not a court in the land that would disagree.
Could you imagine if like every future release and screening of Terminator had to have a thing in the credits that said like based on the character Mechagodzilla?
That would actually be awesome.
But also the character Katsura from Terror of Mechagodzilla is a cyborg in the Godzilla franchise and is like a human character. So, we talk about where Toriyama's getting influence from, and he loved old kaiju movies. There's some kind of direct influences there.
In the real world, though, cybernetic enhancements are rarely as cool as they are in fiction. William DeBell came up with a working brain interface for an artificial eye implanted into a man's visual cortex in 1978 and successfully implanted it, which partially restored the man's sight, allowing him to see in a limited field of vision in a blurry shade of grayscale while hooked up to a 2-ton mainframe. So, not exactly ideal. Refinement over the decades has made it such that this same concept has been used on the same trial person who can now perform simple tasks unassisted. Other experiments with cyborg technology are going along slowly, with people largely just testing the waters of enhanced haptic computer processing and nothing very exciting in terms of like a big wow story. But lots of little advancements that might mean we one day see people with cybernetic eyes and limbs, which for right now are mostly being researched as replacements for lost or deteriorating body parts, not necessarily as enhancements. Artificial eyes allow people limited restored sight, and artificial limb technology is progressing to the point where people can recover their original levels of dexterity and motion, but nothing that's like a leap forward of human potential has really been implemented successfully.
Yeah, not to this point.
No superheroes yet.
Right. I do wonder, and I think we can maybe circle back to this. I have a wonder about that. I want to bring up my last little bit of notes because it's my flimsy premise here to bring up one of those I can't believe that really happened types of stories. Like we did when we talked about giant pearls.
Yeah.
But this about how our government wastes money on really dumb stuff. If you ever want to know how much money the government wastes on dumb stuff, just look up like dumb things the CIA has done. But
yeah.
In the 1960s, the CIA spent upwards of $20 million to attempt to implant microphones and radio transmitters into cats in a project dubbed Acoustic Kitty for the purposes of spying on the Soviets. Difficulties in training cats, including an infamous story that has been disputed by the CIA as untrue, but exists, says that one cat was in fact deployed by the CIA, was struck immediately by a vehicle and killed.
Oh my God.
Led to the project being canceled. So $20 million for robo-spy cats. But back to my kind of question or wondering about like cyborg stuff, right? And like artificial limb replacements.
Yeah.
Do you think at least part of it is, okay, let's say I replaced your hand from like the elbow forward, right? So you'd have a robotic elbow and a robotic hand. To an extent, at least, your ability to like throw a ball or things like that is still based on your like human rotator cuff.
Yeah.
Like the amount of, you can have a metal fist, but your ability to punch with it is based on how much your like shoulder and is it politically incorrect to call it a stump? I don't know, like
I honestly don't know.
Like I don't want to be nasty about it, but like
yeah, no, I get you.
But like it depends to an extent on how much your area where your physical body meets the robotic part of you and your shoulder can like put force into it. So like
sure.
You can't as much as you can potentially like okay, you could maybe replace your entire hand with a mechanical hand, and then that hand could probably potentially grip harder than your hand normally could. But a lot of other things are still based just on how the limitations of your the human parts of your body. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's my thought.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, like you're only like how's the saying go? The chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to your point, like even where the interface where the mechanical components would interact with the biological ones, like you want to throw a punch, okay, but like is that going to do something to that interface? Is that
Right.
going to put undue stress in a way that wasn't anticipated by designers? Like there's a lot of things going on there.
Yes, exactly. People who have prosthetic limbs, like you don't just strap that on and then like forget about it.
Yeah.
Like you have to.
I mean, they even have to do like extensive physical therapy to like just to prep to be able to like to wear prosthetics because of all of the extra stress and stuff that it puts on the end of that limb.
Okay, it is called a residual limb, so that's the
correct term.
That's the correct term. So apologies for that, but yes, it's the residual limb, and yeah, you have to wear compression clothing on it in order to manage swelling, and you have to use like sheaths, and you have to wick moisture away. You have to reduce the friction on them because these are amputated body parts that like that's significant trauma happened at that location.
Yeah. I think a lot of folks don't realize like how much stress we put on our joints because it doesn't feel uncomfortable to us.
Right.
But when you actually go and you measure like what kind of forces are happening there, like that's a rough thing to put on a portion of the body that is not used to having that kind of stress.
Exactly. Yeah. And the way those stresses get applied when you're using a prosthetic is different than if it's internal. Mm-hmm. So yes, the best we're doing these days is restoring people to 100% or nearly where they were before they had whatever incident or accident or inciting reason for their loss of limb. We're not like, did you watch Alien Earth?
I did not. Not yet anyway.
We're not like installing blades into people's hands and like
right.
making them like perfect killing machines and stuff.
Part of me's thankful for that, at least.
But yeah, it's, all kinds of issues.
I was also thinking an extra complication is for anybody who's not a fully grown adult at the time of losing a limb.
Right.
Because as the biological body grows, you have to constantly make adjustments to the prosthesis as well to stay in parity.
Right. And that's like, and then even with other, we get away from the I don't want to say like physical, but I guess get away from the musculature of it, I guess maybe, and get more into like your senses, like cochlear implants and things like that. Like those are frankly terrible. I mean, they're incredible for restoring some limited hearing to people who have lost their hearing. They're absolutely incredible for that, and it's amazing what we can do. But if you've ever heard what like cochlear implants sound like to people who are deaf, if you're a hearing enabled person and you hear what a cochlear implant sounds like, it's awful. Frankly,
isn't it like kind of like a tinny, like almost like you're listening through like an old school phone line or something?
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's how I've heard it described before.
I mean, it's awesome to be able to do that for people and give them that sort of ability. And you definitely see people like have very emotional responses to being able to hear again or being able to hear for the first time. But if you've ever heard what it actually sounds like, it's not like you don't have piccolo ears.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Same
I
with
forgot to mention that in my recap.
Yeah, where he's like
Piccolo is the dirty eavesdropper.
Where he's like, oh, you want me to tell them all that he's Vegeta and Bulma's son? And he's like, what the dude?
No.
And Piccolo almost lords it over him. He's like, I could tell them all. I'll be discreet though.
Yeah.
I also, though, I do think if we want to talk about like the writing part of it, I do think that's actually a good like literary device for, okay, this was all a whole lot of complicated stuff that Goku just got told.
Yeah, there's no way Goku's going to remember it correctly.
Yeah. Goku's a moron. Like, there's no way he's going to be able to explain it correctly. So you have a character
he'll absolutely explain it in a way that drops the parentage information.
Oh yeah. He'll explain it in a way that makes the Dragon Ball timeline skew into the Biff rules the universe
canon version. I think that's the one we're in, right?
It must be.
I'm thinking it is.
I mean, we are. We're in the Biff Tannen version of the. Oh man. You just hit the nail on the head.
We gotta get back to 1985.
Someone needs to get in that DeLorean.
We have to steal the sports almanac. See, I was right. This season is going to be nothing but time travel references.
Hey, what if we stole the sports almanac and the Bills actually won? What if that's the reason we haven't won anything?
Karmic retribution for trying to cheat fate.
But no, yeah, it's all this stuff is as of right now steps behind where your biology is.
Yeah.
Even the stuff that looks really cool, like the I don't know what they call them. The ones that go like in place of like when you have below the knee and they look like the little springy like blades
for the runners and stuff.
Yeah,
I think they call them blades.
Yeah, those are still like they're not like you're not faster because you have those.
Yeah, it's just giving you your mobility back.
Yeah, although I do really like in Kingsman when the one character has them that has the actual blades in the legs.
Those are fun.
That'd be cool. Here we just spent 40 minutes talking about how they're not cool, and then we're like, that'd be cool. But yeah, that's not what things are like, actually. As we get into some of this stuff with androids and things coming up, we will talk, like I mentioned, a little bit about some of the difference between cyborg, android, artificial person, and bio-robot, because I think we're going to see... Are we going to see all of those coming up soon? I
think I don't know if all of them, but we're definitely going to see a few of them.
16 is a legitimate like android. If I'm just
19?
going,
I think 19 is too.
I'm going just purely like off of memory here. 16 is like an android. He is a robot that is designed to look like a human person.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say that about 19.
But I believe so. I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, I think 19 is.
What human person he's designed to look like, I don't know.
I have no idea. Maybe it's Chaozu's older brother or something. Wouldn't that be a plot twist?
And then I would say Jiro is kind of more of that bio robot. Like he's...
Yeah, because I think the implication there is that he's basically a brain in a jar,
yeah,
a robot.
Yeah,
I think.
And then 17
and 18 started off as people, I think, right?
They are artificial humans.
Okay.
They are that like they're more that like Android 8, where the word android keeps being used and makes people think robot, but they are artificial humans. They are...
Got it.
And Cell, same thing with Cell. Cell is technically one of these quote-unquote androids. Cell is just a biological creation.
Yeah.
They are not robots. But we'll get into that. We have already a little bit. If you want to go back and primer yourself and listen to our Android 8 episode, and where we talked about the difference between Jinzo Ningen and Android, yeah. But that's coming up. Driving episode coming up very soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
So,
favorite episode.
That's all I've got for today, though.
That's all I've got.
Excellent. So, I've come to a decision.
Oh, boy.
Stow the attitude. Listen, we can't just sit around here waiting for who knows what to happen. My scouter's picking up some odd energy readings from the second floor of this domicile. I say we go upstairs and investigate.
I don't like it, but I will say it beats just sitting around here waiting.
Okay, let's go.
Wouldn't this be a good time to sign off?
You'd like to think that, but no. I have a feeling about something. Come on.
Okay.
Listeners, as we climb these furry-lined stairs to the second floor, we can hear the sounds of muffled talking, and as we gain access to the second floor, I can see it all coming from behind a door off to our right.
And also...
Yeah, I was getting to that. There's also another swirling energy vortex up here.
ripping holes through time and space is having effects on the fabric of reality, it seems.
Well, whatever the reason, it gives us an out if we don't like what we find on the other side of that door.
Hey, me too.
Whoa! Hey! We are joined by another special guest. We now on the line have Jelly from Second Run podcast.
What a delightful surprise.
Yeah, I just got all the poop cleaned off of me, so...
Let's not even explain that.
Shouldn't explain it yet.
Why would you be on the other side of that door? And not me. And 3 other people are...
That's what you latched onto there?
Oh, yeah, you're also apparently covered in feces.
I don't want to hang out in a universe where I already exist and am a regular target for fecal matter. Let's just get out of here.
Don't you at least want to see what's behind that door? If we don't like it, we can bolt to the portal.
This time, I have a bad feeling about this.
Will Jelly's bad feelings turn out to be true?
Whoa, hey, what the hell?
Oh, I figured we could sign off.
We can, but that's my thing. Will my bad feelings turn out to be true?
That's what I already said.
Or will we find aid in our quest to return home on the other side of this door? Find out next time and help us achieve our final forum.
Final Form is written and produced by Tom Gwelly. It is performed by Dan Kinney and Tom Gwelly. Our webmaster is Dan Kinney. Our theme music is provided by YouTube content creator GVG Kit. Want to learn more about the Dragon Ball universe, including concept art, behind-the-scenes interviews, and recommendations from Jelli and Bekinney? Connect with us on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Final Forum Pod. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you receive your podcasts. And of course, make sure to share it with your friends and family and help us spread the word of the glory of Lord Frieza. The Frieza Force thanks you for your listenership.